I'm an addict for sneakers.
What's good? It's your boy DJ Dells from the sneakeraddict.com/myspizzot.com. I have a lot of people have been asking me on social media to speak about Kanye West, Wiz Khalifa, and Max B, the whole wave situation. And it's just going on constantly. People keep asking me on social media. So let's get into it. You know, I like to show sneakers while I'm talking. This right here is one of the first shoes that Kanye West was ever involved with. This is the Jay-Z S. Carter by Reebok and Jay-Z, of course. And this was a shoe that Kanye West designed. I'm pretty sure there was 25 pairs made in each colorway, and there was about 5 colorways. As you can see, that classic branding right there. But yeah, Kanye designed this back. You know, this is like one of the first shoes he ever worked on. That didn't really release. It was just like a friends and family thing. Now, getting to the whole situation. Wiz Khalifa is a huge fan of Max B. Max B inspired him. Musically, he said it many times, you know, that he's a huge fan of Max B. And he took offense when Kanye West decided to change the name of his album from Swish to Waves. Now, if you're not familiar with Max B, I really recommend you check him out. I'll put a link in the description box below to a project that I worked on with him years and years ago. You know, I met him when he was signed to Jim Jones, and then I continued to hang out with him and be cool with him. And, you know, I worked on a couple of projects with him even after when him and Jim Jones beefed, and, you know, he did his own thing and ended up working with French Montana and Dame Grease and all that good stuff. But the whole thing with Max B, he had that wave, you know, that was like his whole thing. He had this term and this style, and he would call it wavy, and he would call his music waves. And a lot of people that were fans of Max B took that as Kanye kind of taking what Max B put out there, you know, that whole waves and wavy, that whole movement. A lot of people were upset about that. I think not upset about it, but they were kind of like, damn, like, you know, be original, you Kanye West. Like, that's Max B's shit. And I think that Wiz Khalifa, I think that Wiz already isn't feeling Kanye West. You know, he's said a lot of bad stuff about his baby mom in the past. You know, you've seen him on the radio show. I forgot which radio show it was. He was like, man, if you with Amber Rose, you gotta take like 30 showers after. If you remember what radio station it was, leave that in the comment box. But like, he said some foul stuff about his baby mother. And even though they're not together, it's still his baby mother. And I'm sure like that's been brewing on top of a bunch of other stuff. So this whole situation has been brewing before Max B, and Max B isn't the reason why this is all like going down, like, you know, the shit hit the fan. This is something that's been boiling and boiling, you know, and Wiz, you know, saying one thing set off a whole other thing. And then Kanye saw Wiz write KK on his Twitter or something like that on his feed, and he thought he was talking about Kim Kardashian, you know, the initials. He was talking about weed, and Kanye just lost it and just started talking wild shit. He talked about his damn kid. Like, that's terrible. He was like basically saying like Wiz and Amber's kid, that's his kid. Like, cause he was just going off. He was kind of reckless. I think Kanye wasn't thinking straight, kind of just going with the first emotions that was going on in his heart, and he just like let it out on Twitter without like thinking first before actually typing, which a big problem in this day and age. A lot of people type before thinking, and I know that because I read a lot of comments. Once in a while I hear the most ridiculous comments, and I could tell people are not thinking before they type, because it's crazy what they're saying. Don't be like Kanye and just go ahead and start typing. Think first. It's a lesson we all can learn from Kanye. But yeah, he deleted like 30 of his tweets. He was just going ham, and you can find all that stuff all over the place on the internet. I'll actually put a link in the description box if you want to read some of the tweets he wrote. But that was the whole situation, you know. I definitely think, as people were asking, do I think Kanye went too far? Yeah, he definitely went too far as talking about their kid. That's really disrespectful, especially since you have 2 kids. You're a father. You should know better. So that was pretty disrespectful. You know, I've never looked at Kanye for doing something and been like, yo, that's so foul. But this was like one of the first times I really was like, wow, like you really crossed the line. It was kind of disappointing to see that Kanye would do something that foul. But, you know, I mean, he's not my friend or anything. I just like his music. I've met Kanye before, you know, but it's just business. He did some radio drops for me back in the days. If Max B said something negative about me, I've popped bottles with Max B. Like, that would piss me off, you know. But Max would never say nothing fucked up about me because me and Max go back, you know. I've known Max years and years before he got locked up, which is very unfortunate because he's super talented. I got this pair of kicks right here I actually bought, and it was right when he went in, and it was these Air Max Wavies, and they weren't very popular because they only cost $60, and it was a foam-posite shoe, and I was just missing Max because I used to see him like a lot, you know, and I was like, damn, man. I was like, that's crazy. They came out with a Nike Air Wavy, and this was like when Max was like really popular in the streets as far as his music, and you know, he was buzzing with his mixtapes and everything. And I copped this shoe, the Nike Air Wavy. I think it's a pretty dope shoe. I think it's pretty nice, you know, $60. But yeah, I bought this because he goes by the nickname the Silver Surfer, so I just thought of Max. It got that Silver Surfer look, and you know. It's a pair of shoes that I just connected with, like, because it's called the Nike Air Max Wavy. But I think that Kanye did the right thing with deleting the tweets, and I think that it was cool that he actually shouted out Max B. I thought that was dope. You know, Jay-Z, I don't know if you remember, he put out a record a couple of years ago. He actually even shouted out Max B in the record. And, you know, that's how powerful Max B's music is, where people that don't need to shout people out are shouting them out, like Jay-Z, who's, you know, one of the biggest artists of all time. Forget about rapper, you know, he's one of the biggest artists of all times, and he was shouting out Max B. If you never heard of him before, you're probably young. Listen to his music. As I said, I'll put a link in the description box below. Listen to Max B jacking for beats. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be like, oh man, I love this dude's music. Like, you're gonna thank me after. You're gonna just end up, after you hear that mixtape, you're gonna want to hear more and more stuff, because he was one of the best. It's a shame that he got himself in trouble, because I would have loved to still see him around and creating, and he was a one of a kind dude, a lot of fun to hang out with. You know, he just liked to have a good time and party. He was an awesome dude, man. I hope that one day I get to, you know, see him out of jail and just kicking it and putting out them waves again. You know, that's the whole thing. That's why Wiz was like, hell no, you ain't running with the waves. Because Wiz Khalifa loves Max B. Like, he loves his music. He's very influenced by it. That's why, if you notice, he sings a lot and does all that type of shit. That's that Max wave, like, he's inspired by it. Shout out to Wiz Khalifa. I think that was dope that he said what he said. And shout out to Amber Rose. That was hilarious when she was talking about Kanye West, what he's into. Oh, man. That was funny, man, how she just came out of left field and said that. I was like, that's like out of nowhere. She just said it on Twitter, and it just shut everything down. Everyone was like, okay, Amber Rose wins. Like, that was it. It was a wrap. Leave your comments. Leave your thoughts, though. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm not doing like podcast where I'm gonna just sit and talk for an hour and a half, because my time is kind of limited. So whenever I have a chance, I'm gonna answer another question. I'll put a playlist in the description box below, so you can listen to all of them. For all my heads, I like listening to them at work and everything. I'll put a playlist in the description box as we go on, so you can listen to like this week's like sections of, you know, me talking about stuff you guys want me to speak about. Make sure to hit that like button right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Show that love if you love what I do. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts. I love reading your comments, alright? Leave them comments, and we out.